Thanks for clicking! The Toronto Regional Real Estate Board has released Toronto's real estate data for the month of February, showing nosediving sales and listings surging. In fact, as we'll see today, there's been so many new listings and so few sales that the Toronto housing market is more in the favor of the buyer than it's been for the past 12 years. Not just for the past 12 Februaries, for the past 12 years. Fear not though, the TRREB says that with mortgage rates falling, affordability is going to be coming back, which should help bring buyers back to the market. Sorry, editing mistake. That was every single month of 2024 that the TRREB said that. Here's the one from February of 2025.
And boy, that's just a straight shooter.
Speaking of the media, they were quick to parrot the TRREB's assessment that these lack of sales were due in large part to uncertainty over the Trump tariffs, which is probably very true to a certain extent. But let's take a look at by how much, keeping things in perspective.
Why?
So what I want to do today is go over Toronto's real estate data for the month of February, take a look at the argument that it's the Trump tariffs causing this dearth of sales, and then go over some implications. We are eagerly awaiting the Bank of Canada's next interest rate announcement set for next Wednesday, March 12th, and the press conference to be held thereafter, and we'll obviously have an update out on both on this channel. Make sure you click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates, but for now, let's get into this data. Under the data, first up, the benchmark price. The benchmark price, that's the price of a home that represents the most popular set of features, which was up very, very marginally in February. The benchmark in January was $1,070,000, and that jumped about $4K to $1,073,900 in February. So the benchmark price is up about $4K since last month, but still down about $20,000 since this point in time last year, when it really wasn't doing all that great, described as being moody.
Cheer up!
With that said, the average price was up by quite a bit. The average price in January was $1,041,000, and that jumped over $40K to $1,084,547. So the average price is up over $40K since last month, but still down about $25,000 since this point in time in 2024, back when a comeback was on the way amid the return of bidding wars, which totally happened.
I trust you.
Okay, thank you.
And then the median price was up as well. The median price, that's where half as many homes sell over that price and half as many sell under. The median price in January was $910,000, and that jumped $13K to $923,000 in February, but still down about $47,000 since this point in time in 2024. And although prices were up a bit in January, the MOI, the months of inventory, jumped as well. The MOI measures if no more homes came to the market, how long would it take for Toronto to completely run out of homes for sale, and that number was sitting at 3.5 in January, now sitting at 3.8. And that's the highest amount of inventory that Toronto has had available on the market for the past 12 Februaries. Meaning, heading into that spring market, finance conditions, home inspections, if your realtor can't protect your financial interest, get one who will.
Don't tell me how to do my job.
And finally, the sales to list price ratio, which measures by how much over or under asking a home sells. So if a home is listed for 100 and sells for 98, the SLPR would be 98. The SLPR was 99 in January and remained that way in February. So we have a benchmark price up about $4,000. We have an average price up over $40,000. We have a median price up $13,000. There's relative more inventory sitting on the market, and homes are still selling for 1% under asking price. But similar to last month, the real story here is the sales numbers, with sales coming in at 4,037, 27.4% less than this point in time last year, and new listings coming in at 12,066. Up about 5%. And that was the lowest sales numbers that Toronto has seen for at least the past decade, and the highest number of new listings coming to the market by far for at least the past 12 Februaries. And with so many new listings coming to the market and so few sales, the sales to new listings ratio, which measures how much a market is considered to be in the favor of the buyers or a seller, with anything under 40, according to the central bank, being indicative of a buyer's market, coming in at 38.4, the lowest SNLR that Toronto has seen for the past 12 years. Not just for February, not just the past 12 Februaries, for the past 12 years in total. But fear not, says the TRREB, the problem is that current mortgage rates are making it unaffordable to buy a home. Well, yeah, it could be rates, or it could be the other side of the equation, prices.
Don't you ever say that.
Let's go discuss this with the TRREB from July of 24, who said that once interest rate cuts hit about 100 basis points, we could see home buyers flood back into the market. And as to how well that prediction turned out, well, we've now seen 175 basis points worth of rate cuts since that prediction was made, and we're still seeing an unprecedented lack of sales. But for argument's sake, let's give the TREB the benefit of the doubt and we'll assume that they were referring to fixed mortgage rate cuts. Maybe they're one of the few realtors that know the difference between the fixed rates and the policy rate.
I appreciate that.
Now, unfortunately, RBC's mortgage rates are not available on the Wayback Machine for the month of July. Fortunately, though, TD does have that page listed, though even if we dig into that a little bit, we can see that some of the data that should be there is missing.
I do not recall any of that.
This Abdul
I do not
Hakiki?
No, I don't recall.
No, but thankfully, CIBC does actually have something from back then. If we take a look, we find a 5.34 interest rate available on July 6th, and fast forward to right now, we have 4.59 available. So that's what, about 75-80 basis points lower than it was back in July, and as we just saw, we're still seeing a 12-year low for sales in Toronto. No entrance into the market despite 175 basis points in cuts on the short end and about 80 basis points in cuts on the long end as well. So then it must be the Trump tariffs that are causing this lack of sales.
Whatever you need.
Let's go back to October before Trump was even elected. If we go back then, we find the third worst October on record for the past 12 years in Toronto. Back when CIBC had 4.64, very close to where it is now. So these lack of sales can't all be blamed on the Trump tariffs, on the uncertainty coming from down south. Not entirely, at least. The boards and the stooges in the media that they control may say that this was all the Trump tariffs and that everything was doing fine pre-Trump election, but there's very, very little data to support that argument. We were still seeing very, very low sales even before Trump was elected, despite all those interest rate cuts that we had up until then. So yes, worries over the Trump tariffs are obviously eating into the market, and we are seeing that show up in the sales. But let's not act like the TRREB was doing just fine with all of its projections, and then Trump got elected. Surprise. The market, pre-Trump election, wasn't showing any signs that would support that conclusion.
I know, but so what?
And the reason why this matters is that this same organization is continuing to tell us what to expect in 2025, noting that if trade uncertainty is alleviated and borrowing costs continue to trend lower, we could see much stronger home sales activity in the second half of the year. If trade uncertainty is alleviated, you don't get the lower rates. Look at the yield on the 5-year in this week alone, up 23 basis points, as news from the US started to get marginally better and better. And if you do get the lower rates, you're getting the trade uncertainty. Have your puppets report back to you when they return home from the Bank of Canada press conferences.
Godfather, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
And my guess is that this is going to be the new FOMO. This is going to be the new fear of missing out. Get in now, as once this uncertainty with the United States is over, which of course could happen any day, then you'll miss out and the market's going back to the moon. Now, interest rates are probably going to drop as this continues to play out. No doubt we will be seeing an interest rate cut, maybe 25, maybe 50, at next week's announcement. But let's see what happens. There's a lot of inventory still sitting on the market. Prices are not going to the moon tomorrow, even if rates go to the floor. With that said, we will continue to track the Toronto market on this channel. Make sure you click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates. But for now, thanks so much for watching.